Welcome back. You are back on your Feel Good Breakfast Show today, and we are still focusing on preparing our children to go back to school. And as you begin the process, it's good to let them know that you have their backs. Now, still here to lend their expert advice is registered counsellor Sondre Adams and also Jonathan Hoffenberg, manager at the Parents Centre. Lovely to have you guys back. Yes, new school year. I've got my two boys at home, and I know what it's like. You know, you're coming off the back of a holiday. It's almost like counting down the days, the last days of the holiday now, going into the brand new school year. There's a lot of unfamiliarity. It's new teachers, new environments, maybe, new grades, all of that. But I want to talk about routine, because during the holidays, we know routine goes out the window. You know, we enjoy time with our family and our friends, but how do we go about re-establishing a good routine, and when should we start doing that?
I think it's a gradual process. So if the earlier you start, the better. I would suggest 2 weeks before actual school starting, where you start with bedtime routine, bath time routine, the things that are within your control at that point, just to get the sleeping patterns back into swing, because you're going to bed late and you're waking up a bit later. It completely throws you. So I would suggest 2 weeks before, like I said, and also including activities throughout the day, so that you're not in the swing of, you know, focusing a little bit more, whether it's colouring or, depending obviously age appropriately, doing activities in the day where they are focusing a little bit more than they would when it's complete, you know, free play.
Look, I mean, I think that even if it's a holiday, there are certain routines that should stay, certain routines that keep the family cohesive. So, you know, those family meals, even when you're on holiday, you can still have how was your day, what did you do, what kind of happened.
Even if you were all together anyways.
You know, the sharing of stories. I really like that, you know, easing them in. I think focusing on the fundamentals, sleep, getting back into that sleep cycle. I mean, you said you had boys. What are their ages?
11 and 8.
Yeah, so both of them, an 8-year-old, you know, should be having like 10 hours of sleep. You don't have those 10 hours, it has a huge impact on the school day. So, you know, are they sleeping enough? Are they starting to eat properly? Are they getting back into a protein-rich breakfast? Because a lot of kids aren't eating breakfasts, and that, again, you know, we think that we're overly cognitive. We think that we're too much in our brains. A lot of our psychology rests in our body. You know, are we sleeping? Are we eating? Are we exercising? Are we spending time with loved ones? All of those are charged with batteries for school.
For sure. Look, I know we're talking about kids, but I mean equally important for us grown-ups as well, to start preparing ourselves, you know, for the working year going forward. We also spoke about in the previous segment about dealing with stress and anxiety and all of that. But talking about words of affirmation, how do we speak to our kids to fully prepare them? Because, like I said, there's a lot of change, new teachers, new classmates. Maybe you are new in a school. What do we say to our children to make them feel confident going into this new year?
For me, I think it's important. I like to use acronyms, and, you know, it needs to be real. You know, so when you're giving affirmations, it can't be some airy-fairy like, you are the best kid in the world. You know, it cannot be that. It needs to be rooted in reality.
It needs to be believable.
And believable. You need to also be authentic in that moment. You know, like I said, you need to be able to connect with your child. And the affirmation could be as simple as, you know, I know today's a scary day for you, but you'll make great friends, or you'll be a great friend. I know you are a kind child. And so you using those affirmations, it doesn't have to be huge.
And
just be real.
Acknowledge the original feeling, like you said, of that, maybe that bit of anxiety.
Exactly. So always be real. Don't try and just smooth over the negatives. And
don't sugarcoat it.
Exactly. So allow them to feel that, and even share a bit of your own experience. You know, when I was at school, I was really, really nervous. I didn't want my mom to leave, but she came back. So providing that kind of real affirmation is important.
Yeah, and it builds character. You know, allowing your kid to understand these feelings, or you as a parent helping to understand these feelings, especially if they are younger.
You know, I think it's the amazing thing about school is every year is a chance in a certain degree to reinvent themselves. Every year is a new experience with a teacher. And so I think those affirmations are also about getting the child to reflect on their previous school career or even their previous play school career, or, you know, that yes, last year you really had a teacher that you struggled with, and I know that you're really concerned that, you know, this teacher is going to be exactly like Mr. Pizza's, you know, but your teacher before that, Mrs. Carr, you loved her, so maybe there'll be a Mrs. Carr, and asking the child questions. Well, what do you want from your teacher? What are you hoping for? A teacher that's smart? Are you hoping for a teacher that's funny? So getting them to be thinking through the options and thinking through, you know, the kind of polarity. And then I think in terms of affirmation, I always like to talk about the poles, you know. Give them an affirmation that you know is about what we want from all kids. We want all kids to be, you know, bright and to fit in, and especially, obviously, according to the age, there's always that strong incentive to fit in with the rest of your peer group, you know. The weird irony of parenting and being a child is you want to be like everybody else, but you want to be special, you know. And then the other side is affirm your child's weirdness. Affirm your child's deviance.
I love that.
You know, point out that weird, kooky part of your child that is unique to them. Because if it is something kind of weird, you know, like I've got a wandering eye, and, you know, I used to get teased about it a lot, and I turned it into this weird superpower because I said, well, I'm a chameleon and I'm watching you and I'm watching you, you know. So you can't sugarcoat, you can't move away from your child's challenges. Get them to embrace them.
Absolutely. Foster that independence and in the child, because I think it is so important, as difficult as it may be, because I know I was also a nervous kid. You know, I didn't want to go back to school, and it was difficult. You know, I was very self-aware and all of these things, but it's from us how we manage it, like you said. Point it out and it's fine, but reassure them that it is okay. And words of affirmation. Sandra, thank you, Jonathan, as well. Gold in terms of advice. You guys are absolutely amazing. And I mean, honestly, the best way to predict your future is to go out and create it. So let's ensure we send our students and our young ones back to school ready to tackle the new year with absolute ease.